Hi everyone, my name is Greg. So today, let me have a tour with you about hand sanitizers. I will be discussing on the formulations and biological properties of hand sanitizers in different dosage forms in the perspective of a pharmacist. Before I start, have you ever wondered how your hand sanitizers are able to wash off all the pathogens from your hand? Do you have any difficulties in choosing the right hand sanitizers for you? Well, worry not. We are here to learn. So, let us check it out. First, you should learn and understand about your hand. Our hands are constantly filled with microbes as we always touch other surfaces. Thus, there is a need to have good hand hygiene practice. The pH of our skin surface is usually in the range of pH 4.5 to 6.5. Thus, remember to choose your product within this range to avoid skin irritation. Skin serves as a barrier that protects against harmful microorganisms by having colonized residential normal flora such as Staphylococcus aureus and a regeneration period of 28 days. Thus, harmful bacteria will constantly shake off together with the dead skin cell, and a good formulation would not affect these properties significantly. Lastly, space within the fingernails is a reservoir for various bacterial growth. Thus, remember to clean these sites properly. So now, here are the two types of hand sanitizers and their ingredients listed as below. For WHO, World Health Organization, and CDC, Central for Disease Control and Prevention, both of them do recommended alcohol-based hand sanitizer, and they do not recommend alcohol-free hand sanitizer. Let us see the reason behind it. Now, we have a list of ingredients for both formulations as a purpose of comparison. So we will learn together on the function of each ingredient to know which formulation better suits you. First, both have antiseptic effect. This is contributed by the active ingredient in both formulations. As you can see, there are 70% of ethyl alcohol in alcohol-based formulation. These fulfill the requirement from WHO to have formulation with at least 60 to 95% of alcohol. While for benzyl alkonium chloride, on my right, a small concentration of 0.13% is needed. Although it is in small amount, it is sufficient enough to exert antimicrobial activity. This explains why alcohol tends to cause small skin irritation problems, as it used to have higher concentration. But this problem can be solved by adding certain excipients. Now, another compound that caught my attention is this octadecanium and the propyl chloride. Okay, it is a type of quaternary ammonium salt that acts as a synergist to disturb bacterial spore function. So it is part of antiseptic. It has some antiseptic properties. Secondly, both have water. Both formulations got water, right? So, for alcohol, water is important as it allows the penetration of alcohol into the bacterial cell and denature the protein. The third common ingredients are the conditioners. It is an essential one that protect our skin, or improve our skin conditions. Some examples of conditioners are humectant, moisturizer, and emollient. For alcoholic formulation, the conditioner serves as to reduce the drying effect on the irritation problem caused by this active ingredient. Companies claim that this product have 4 conditioners. Okay, now let us see. It has caprylyl glycol, glycerin, isopropyl myricate, and tocopherol acetate. All these are conditioners. For alcohol-free product, I can saw there is an aloe vera extract. So aloe vera is definitely a well-known conditioner, skin conditioner. And also there is also glycerin that give humectant property. Next, both of the formulation have fragrance. As you can see, here they have perum as their fragrance. And for here, based on what I have found, citronellol is a type of terpenoid that has citrate-like scent. Okay, and also in some formulation alcohol, they will add some bitter chemicals to avoid consumption of this type of product, such as isopropyl alcohol in this case. It gives a faintly bitter taste. And now, here is the tip for you. In order to spot whether the formulation is in gel form or not, what should you observe? You should observe whether there is polymers or not. I spotted one here. So if there is polymer, this formulation is definitely a gel. And I did not spot any polymers on my right. So maybe this will be a solution form. So the next ingredient is the pH adjuster. As I can saw, aminomethylpropanol serves as a pH adjuster that adjusts the pH near to our pH of our skin, which is 4.5 to 6.5. So this compound actually can act as a synergist with ethanol, as the antimicrobial activity will improve if certain acid is added. In fact, like for certain polymers like carbomeres, it is sensitive to pH changes, and it only works best at the pH ranging from 5.5 to 10. So take note on that. Now, next, the colorant. I did not see any colorant here, so I'm expecting it is transparent and colorless. And for here, I can saw a FDSC blue one. So I'm suspecting that this formulation would be a blue color solution. Now, next, the preservative. As I have spotted 3 preservatives in this formulation, which are polyaminopropylbicarbonate, sodium benzoate, and another one is citric acid monohydrate. So, additional of preservative usually associate with higher stability and longer shelf life. However, there is no preservative in alcoholic formulation. This is because it contains high percentage of ethanol, which are not favorable for bacterial growth. Thus, preservative is not necessarily needed. So, the last one is surfactant. For alcohol-free vape products, I can solve C12C15 pyrrate 12 and caprylyl glucoside as their surfactant. I think based on my reasoning, because the formulation has some extract from the plant, so maybe they might have some mineral oils there. So some emulsifier is needed to stabilize the formulation. And next, we'll compare the spectrum of activity between these two types of hand sanitizer. Alcohol-based hand sanitizer has a broader spectrum of activity, although alcohol might be less effective against certain spores and non-enveloped virus. These spores can be overcome by adding hydrogen peroxide. And for non-enveloped virus, the virucidal activity can be improved by adding acids. Okay, while for alcohol-free hand sanitizer, it has a narrower spectrum of activity. And for example, benzalkonium chloride is less effective against mycobacteria and fungi. And what makes it worse is some bacteria may acquire resistance upon long-term usage. So, alcohol-based is generally more recommended due to its higher consistency and efficacy, although it brings some other disadvantages, such as being flammable and has the risk of toxicity caused by accidental ingestion. So this accidental ingestion problem can be solved by adding bitter chemicals. And being flammable also can be solved if you have certain precaution like do not expose it under the sun or heat, right? So you can see how important the formulation is in determining or even enhancing the antimicrobial activity. So think properly in choosing your hand sanitizer. So I think I have debunked all the myths and facts from my previous explanation. Alcohol kills all types of bacteria. No, right? Alcohol is non-toxic if you use properly. Alcohol does not cause antibiotic resistance. It's the alcohol-free hand sanitizers that cause antibiotic resistance. And alcohol-based formulation does not dry out your hand if ingredients like humectant, moisturizers, emollients are added into your formulation. So now let's go to the dosage form. The three common dosage forms of hand sanitizers in the market are gels, foams, and liquid. I will now proceed with the description on each dosage form. Now, gel formulation. What you should know. Gels are formed when gelling agents such as CMC and carbomer are added. Different gelling agents exhibit different gelling properties. Some incompatibility issues might occur, which causes precipitation. With the presence of skin of the gelling agent, it gives you a smooth and silky feeling upon applying onto the skin. Based on my research, carbomer is the most suitable gelling agent for this hydroalcoholic solution. Now, let us proceed with the good points about gel. Gel has a high spreadability and a low risk of spillage. Besides, it is the least expensive option among all, and it has a low residue formation if you use the correct excipients. And you will have a cold feeling upon application, and it is easy to bring around in small bottles. Next, there are just some minor faults for gels. it will be sticky if you use it in high dose, and it has a longer drying time, which might reduce compliance among healthcare workers. Now, overall, it is a good formulation. Next, we will talk about foams. Foams are formed when a specialized foaming agent is added, such as bis PEF 12 dimethicone. Gas cells are formed as the dispersed phase, while the liquid expands its surface area to form a membrane around gas bubble as continuous phase. Advantages of this formulation. It gives a softer feel and sounds kinder to the skin. It has a high containment and does not drip off easily, as I have shown you in the video, right? As you flip, it will just contain that. It is easy to spread over the hands. Next, the disadvantages of this formulation. It has a higher cost of production, and it might be sticky if a foaming agent is added in high dose, as the same as gel. Sense of soapiness and longer drying time is observed on the foams. Okay, now overall foams are good formulation. Okay, due to its beneficial properties of do not drip off easily. So this is especially useful for the elderly. Now next, for liquid formulation. Liquid formulation is usually unrecommended due to its lower acceptability and tolerability. Now, it is difficult to handle and will cause excessive spillage also. Although it gives a higher degree of soaking and penetration properties to skin creases and nail folds, it will actually cause low acceptability also because it is prone to skin irritants. Next, it has a disadvantage of low coverage due to high evaporation rate. Now, if other types of formulation like spray and wipe is formulated, it might improve the tolerability and acceptability because it is more easier to be used than rinsing. As you can see, rinsing is very messy and it drips off and it's more stronger, so it can cause more irritations and low acceptability. Okay, next. So now it's the activity time. So list down the advantages and disadvantages for each dosage form. Multiple answers are allowed. So you can pause the video or else I will announce the answer. So for gels and foam, both are easy to manage. And for both gel and foam, they are easily spread over hand. Foams have better holding capability, while gels is the cheaper option. Liquid, the advantages is having a shorter drying time. So why is it an advantage here? This is because for healthcare workers, they will want a formulation that can dry faster so that they can continue perform their tasks. And wet surfaces allows further contamination if you touch any surfaces again. And next, it can be in the form of spray or wipe. However, foam are more costly and liquids has the risk of spillage. Both gel and foam is sticky if you use it in high dose, and liquids are difficult to handle. Next, we will go to the rheological properties. So, for the rheology, you all know that rheology deals with flow. Different stress applied will result in different speed of flow. So, stress is the force acting per unit area, which is pressure. Rate is the inverse time of flow, which is the speed. The gradient is the viscosity. So now, these are the good rheological characteristics that a hand sanitizer should have. And there are three types of flow as shown on my right. So, for now, I will draw my graph here. Okay, and also I will relate this flow to see whether they are ideal or not and see how many criteria has been fulfilled by this flow. So, for Newtonian flow, it has a linear relationship. It's a linear, it's a straight line between shear stress and shear rate. And if you draw a triangle here, okay, it has a constant gradient which indicates constant velocity. Although this gives a good flowing properties, but with a small amount of stress, it will lead to massive amount of flow. Thus, this is the reason why liquid cannot be handled easily. As we can see now, this type of flow can be poured easily, but it does not spread easily because it tends to drip off, and it does not give uniform coating because high evaporation, and it flows readily under gravity, and it would not need to be squeezed. It just flow out, and it feels smooth, doesn't feel oily, appear transparent, and does not cause irritation. I think is the formulation that has the highest prone to cause irritation. Now, let us go to second one, non-Newtonian flow pseudoplastic. Is another type of non-Newtonian flow. So the graph is like this. It will start from 0 and it's a curve. Yes, okay. So the gradient indicates viscosity. To be more precise, is about the flowability. As the gradient increases, okay, you can see it flows faster because the gradient is very steep. You see there is much y gain with a little increasement of x axis, x value. Thus, the viscosity actually is greatly decreasing in high stress. While when the stress is low, okay, the gradient is small. As you see, large stress will only contribute to a small increase of flow. Thus, in lower shear stress, the viscosity is very high. This is a very good rheological property, as it will flow easily when higher stress is applied. And when you remove the stress, it will just reduce the flow significantly and coated the skin surface nicely. So gel has this type of flow. So let us see. It can be poured easily, it spread easily, it gives a uniform coating, yeah, because when you don't have stress, it coats well. And it does not flow under gravity, yeah. It is able to easily squeeze out, yeah. When you apply force, it will flow. So it will feel smooth, does not feel oily, appear transparent, and does not cause irritation, most likely won't. So almost all the criteria have been fulfilled by this. Now, another flow is called the plastic flow. It is also under non-Newtonian flow. In fact, plastic flow can be further divided into two types, which is the Bingham model and the Caesium model. But a good point about plastic flow is that it has a minimum yield stress value that can be easily overcome because the value is small. So for Bingham, it will be a straight line. Okay, now a straight line is correct, and it might be also curved line. So straight line indicates Bingham, and curved line indicates Caesium. Okay, Caesium. Yeah. So for the form, it applies the Bingham model. It applies the Bingham model. Yeah. So form is under plastic flow. Okay. With this, form is easily forced out when stress is higher than the U value is applied. It allows the spreading when you rub it with a stress value higher than the U. Okay, and then it will immediately contain at our hand, and no dripping will occur when the stress is removed. When the stress is removed, so it's 0, or the stress is lower than the yield stress value, which means if within this range of shear stress, it would not flow. So this also gives a good advantage, and it is ideal. It has the ideal rheological properties, as it can be poured easily because the value is easy to overcome, and it can spread easily. It gives a uniform coating, and it does not flow readily, right? It can hold and contain well, and it's easy to squeeze out because the value is small, feels smooth, okay, does not feel oily, but it does not appear transparent yet. It appears a bit white. and it does not cause irritation. So 8 out of 9 is fulfilled by this flow. Okay, so I hope you all will have a clear mind on which type of formulation is the best. Next, now we'll go to the role of the pharmacist. Pharmacists can be a compounder that formulates hand sanitizers. Pharmacists are well experienced in formulating medicine and drug as well as hand sanitizers according to the standard guidelines. So, community pharmacy can also act as a counselor that educates people about the correct way of disinfecting your hand. Industrial pharmacies can act as an inspector that performs quality control. A regulator also can be performed by a pharmacist that inspect products, hand sanitizing products. Pharmacists can be part of the regulatory body as a decision maker or policy formulator on medicine and health products. Lastly, as what we have known, pharmacists play a role in dispensing over the counter. So now, let's go into our last section, which is an overview on the future directions of hand sanitizers. As we all have known, the demands for hand sanitizers are expected to continue to rise due to the unforeseen COVID-19 pandemic seasons. Besides, based on the epidemiology, 3 to 4 pandemics will occur with different emergence of new virus or pathogen in which humans are vulnerable of. Thus, the demand less likely to decrease. It will reach the peak when there is pandemic of disease caused by contact transmission, and thus hand sanitizing is important here. Besides, a more innovative way of formulating hand sanitizer should be established in future. Currently, I have saw some research on the formulation of emulsion type of hand sanitizers. High internal phase of oil can be incorporated into the hydroalcoholic medium with the aid of surfactants. This formulation, besides offering higher stability, it allows a variety of ingredients to be added to the formulation, whether it is lipophilic or hydrophilic. In future, we might be able to see hand sanitizers that has various skin benefiting properties with a more innovative way of formulating. I would like to stress on another new way of dispensing, as which is the extemporaneous formulation. Pharmacists are highly encouraged to formulate hand sanitizers on the spot to specifically meet the customer demands and needs. For example, there is a list of fragrance colorants that allows the customer to choose based on their preference. This is also especially useful for patients that are allergic to certain ingredients, so that specific allergens can be excluded or replaced with another suitable one. Lastly, I hope that all the issues regarding hand sanitizers are able to be solved for a better development. Okay, that's all for now. I shall end here and hope every one of you have gained extra knowledge regarding my topic. Don't forget to press like and support to my video. Thank you and bye bye.